Spearhead moves into new territory. Does it hold up? Hello and welcome to Miniatures Rundown. I'm Josh.
I'm Cody.
And today we're talking about the new Spearhead season? I was about to say expansion, but it's more of a season.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of like a season. You're right.
50 Cent Sand and Bone. Sand and Bone. So, Spearhead. First, brief Spearhead, if you don't know what Spearhead is. Hi, you should play Spearhead.
Yeah.
Spearhead is the combat patrol of Age of Sigmar.
Except it's good.
Yeah, beat me to the joke, Cody. So, it's Age of Sigmar, but much pared down. You're probably having like 3 or 4 units. Still multi-model units, so it's not quite skirmish, although some people call it skirmish.
Yeah.
3 or 4 units. They're set lists with no real changes that you can pick between them. And then, yeah, it's a shorter game. Crucially, Spearhead is A, good, and
Yes.
B, uses functionally the same rules as Age of Sigmar.
Yeah, pretty close. Yeah.
Basically, top to bottom. Spearhead is a better training tool for Age of Sigmar than Combat Patrol is for 40k.
Absolutely.
We can't spend this episode talking about Combat Patrol because they'll just keep dissing Combat Patrol for 40 years. Suffice to say, Spearhead is A, well loved.
Yeah. So when you walk into your game store and basically they used to be called Start Collectings, then they were called Vanguards. This is basically like how you get into an army. It's usually got like a leader unit, a chaff unit, and then typically like a bigger unit or cavalry or something like that. And they used to just be bundle boxes to get you started in the army, give you a little bit of everything, and then you'd build your army from there. That's still the case.
Yeah, that hasn't gone away.
Yeah, now they made a game completely around that. Like the rules are a little bit different, like on their war scrolls and whatnot, but again, the rules are very close to Age of Sigmar, and it's very fun. Like, actually, I've played more Spearhead than I think I have of both 40k and Age of Sigmar in the past year, and almost more than Kill Team, which is my #1 game right now.
Yeah, so Spearhead is really well liked by the community at large. I like it, you like it.
Yeah.
It plays very well. It feels more balanced. I mean, yeah, there's still some outliers with Spearhead.
Yeah, sure.
That's always going to happen. Welcome to Games Workshop. But in general, it feels really good to play. So when we first saw the news of Sand and Bone, the last one was Fire and Jade.
Yeah.
This is now Sand and Bone. We were both excited and also concerned because Fire and Jade launched with Age of Sigmar 4th edition.
Yep.
What edition are we in? 4th edition?
Yes, we're on 4th edition.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, 4th. Came in the box, was well loved. This is their first change, and it was kind of like a, don't screw this up.
Yeah.
And I think I'm happy to report that they didn't screw it up.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where you're kind of like, don't touch it, leave it good, and that's kind of what they did.
Yeah, this is not like the GHB, which we haven't talked about yet.
Right.
The new GHB, which actually takes place in Gyran, the realm of life. I kind of find they haven't talked about this and played it up. You'd think they would.
Yeah.
The GHB has moved to the realm of life, and Spearhead has moved to the realm of death.
Right.
Let's just, slippy sloppy. I like that the Spearhead has not felt the need to follow them into the same territory.
Yeah, same.
But anyway, the GHB is, a friend of the show, Kevin, pointed out that the new GHB is not for new players of Age of Sigmar. It's a lot. The GHB is for people who play Age of Sigmar as their main game, and it really rattles things up. It really changes the game.
Really?
It feels more like a matched play change than just like a general change.
Okay.
We can talk about that when we talk about the GHB.
For sure.
I've got a lot to say. So the GHB is changed a whole bunch of things. There's a lot of things a lot of people aren't happy about yet. We haven't played games, so I'm not going to comment whether they're good or bad, but things changed.
Right.
In this case, they really kept it simple, stupid.
Yeah.
So let's go over some of the minor changes that have happened. We're not going to go over the complete change for Spearhead. Do we have a video up on Spearhead? I don't know if we ever did.
I don't remember if we did one or not.
Coming soon.
Maybe.
A video where we talk about Spearhead.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the most noticeable thing is the aesthetic.
Yeah.
It's still largely the same game. Like, you have 5 objectives. There's 2 different sides to your board. They vary in different ways with their secondary missions and twists and whatnot. But other than that, it's mostly just aesthetic as far as the board goes.
Yes.
But you will notice there are 2 more pieces of terrain in this one than the last one. The last one only had 2 big walls and 2 little walls, kind of like this one has. But this one also has this little sarcophagus with the blood here and the statue of, I forget her name.
Neferata.
Yeah. They actually do stuff. Like, they actually have rules. Like, these have, like, the capture secondaries and stuff like that. These guys actually, they are twists, so you don't put them down at the start of the game.
Right.
You draw them as a twist. Yep.
So, yeah, I've got Unholy Draft, which is the Crypt of Blood, which is a large mystical terrain feature, by the way. Crypt of Blood. Pick a friendly unit within 6 inches of a Crypt of Blood. Roll a dice, add 1 to the roll if you are the underdog, which means you're currently losing. On a 4-up, add 1 to hit rolls for the target's combat attacks for the rest of the turn. Otherwise, inflict D3 mortal damage on the target. So basically 50-50 to either get +1 to hit for combat only, not shooting.
Right.
Or D3 mortals, which kind of sucks. And obviously, it's only a 4-up, 50-50 if you're not winning, and a 3-up if you're losing.
Yeah.
Which is kind of niche, but nice, I guess. And then Veiled Promises, which is the Neferata statue. You pick a friendly unit within 6 inches. Roll a dice, add 1 to the roll if you're underdog. Again, on a 4-up, again, add 3 to the target's control score. Otherwise, subtract 3 from the target's control score. Control score matters more in Age of Sigmar than 40k, and matters more in Spearhead than Age of Sigmar.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
Most Spearheads, with some very few exceptions, are not capable of easily wiping the board and winning on board wipe. Spearhead in general, the game feels so short and stuff isn't that punchy. Again, yes, there are some exceptions. Hello, Moorbag Knights. That you actually do need to control things.
Yeah.
So this is not as useless as it might seem if you're coming from 40k or even Age of Sigmar, where control still matters, especially if you're playing giants. But yeah, I like those.
Yeah.
I like anything that favors the underdog.
Definitely.
Spearhead in general is a game where the fortunes of battle can change so rapidly.
Yeah.
Like flip-flop, who's going to win, who's going to lose. Age of Sigmar does that fairly okay. Spearhead does it even better, where it's like, I'm winning. Oh, Lord, I'm not winning anymore.
Oh, yeah. Like, there's been games where I felt like I was just getting absolutely stomped on, and then we, tallied up the scores, and I lost by, like, 2 points.
Yeah.
Like, it's very well balanced in that way where no game... I mean, it might seem like it's snowballing a little bit, but it actually isn't sometimes. And it's always, like, fairly easy to, like, one dice roll could completely change the, the route of the game.
And that's mostly it.
That's mostly it. Again, just like the last one, they have 2 decks of cards that each player will get. One has the twists for one side of the board. The other one has the other twist. You separate those. But the twists are... the twists are more different than the secondaries. The secondaries are, I don't know what they're actually called. The battle tactics.
Battle tactics, yes.
Yeah, the battle tactics are very close to the same. Like, it's like, get guys to the edge of the board, kill more enemies than, you had allies die, kind of stuff like that. And then the secondaries are very similar as well, of, like, adding to your charge rolls, getting some extra movement, getting some reinforcements type stuff. Like, it's all very
You still got hold
similar.
ground and raise and, the other ones have other more deathy names, like the Grip of Death.
Yeah.
But the Grip of Death is still just, you complete this battle tactic at the end of your turn if you control 2 objectives not wholly within friendly territory.
Yeah, which I'm pretty sure
which
was
is nothing new.
in...
Which is fine.
Yeah.
Again, they didn't feel the need to break it.
Yeah, and that's awesome. And it just kind of... It changes it up a little bit aesthetically. The boards are a little bit different, so I think it's enough of a refresher to, like, if the game was getting a bit stale for you, make it new.
Yes, and I think that is the one thing, is that it seems like they don't feel the need to shake things up with these Spearhead seasons in the same way they do with the GHB.
For sure.
Where the GHB is absolutely by design, throw the baby out with the bathwater every time. Like, no, we're just completely redoing this crap.
Right.
They didn't feel the need to do that with Spearhead, and I'm actually kind of okay with that. I think some people are worried about the game growing stale, but I think the twists are different. We'll talk about the twists in a second. And the Spearhead is fast enough that it doesn't have to worry about that as much, because you're not spending 3 hours playing a game.
Yeah, it's not even like Kill Team in that regard, where Kill Team was supposed to be a shorter game of 40k, but like...
The actual game is, the 40 minutes you spend setting up the game is what makes it not very fast.
The 40 minutes of trying to remember your rules and stuff like that, and movement and like whatnot, like it's definitely shorter than 40k. But
skill issue, bro. I don't know.
Yeah, sometimes games go a bit longer than I'd like with only having 10 dudes on the board. Yeah. But in this game, it is like noticeably shorter.
Spearhead
like,
games are actually shorter than Kill Team games.
Yeah, I've gotten games in like half hour, 45 minutes sometimes. Like it's really not that bad.
So let's go over some of these twists.
Yeah.
Because some of these are fun. These are all Ossia twists.
Yeah.
So Ossia is the land that this is taking place in. It's Ossia, the same place. Ossia is Ossius, which comes from Latin of bone or whatever. Is that Greek? I don't remember. I think it might be Greek. Doesn't matter. It's where the Osiarch Bone Reapers are hailing from, basically.
I think they have Greek vibes to them. So
They do, but they also have lots of
Yeah.
different vibes. So uncompromising invasion. Each player scores 1 extra victory point at the end of their turn for each objective not wholly within the territory that they control, which is not contested by any enemy units. In addition, if one of the players is the underdog, they can pick a friendly unit and then roll a d6 and add the result to that unit's control score. So interestingly, this one, those two are at odds with each other because extra control score doesn't matter if the thing is uncontested.
Right.
But it still gives something for the underdog. I kind of like that one.
Yeah. And there was something very similar in Fire and Jade, if I remember correctly.
Yes. Discipline Conquest, which is the underdog, picks 2 objectives. If there's no underdog, everyone picks 1. Each player scores 2 victory points, extra victory points, if they control both objectives.
Yeah.
So that is almost a gimme for the underdog, unless you're just really getting wiped. Because remember, there's 5 objectives.
Oh, yeah.
Generally, there's 2 in your home field, 1 in the no man's land, and 2 in your enemy's field. If you're the underdog, it's really easy to pick the 2 objectives that you're controlling.
Right,
and
yeah,
just be like,
absolutely.
no longer the underdog.
And that gives the person who's not the underdog, the basically the need to be aggressive to stop them from scoring those 2 points.
You have to continue to be, if you're slapping them around, you have to continue to slap them around.
Yeah.
Secured supply lines. The underdog picks 2 terrain features. If there's no underdog, each player picks 1. Each player scores 1 extra victory point at the end of their turn if they control both. So that's basically the same thing. In addition, the underdog can pick 1 friendly unit for the rest of the battle round. While that unit contests either of those terrain features that they were picked, it has Ward 5 up, which is incredibly powerful. You don't get a lot of Ward 5 ups in Spearhead. It's less of a thing in Spearhead because there's less of those really big slappy monsters that have wards and whatnot.
For sure.
I like that one a lot because, man, that is basically just another gimme to the underdog. There's a fair few of those in here.
Yeah.
Invincible Redoubts. The underdog can pick 1 of the effects below. If there's no underdog, players roll off and the winner can pick the effect. Precision Strike, pick a friendly unit for the rest of the battle round. While that unit is wholly within friendly territory, it has strike first. So that's basically a get off my lawn.
Right.
And then Descent in the Ranks, pick an enemy unit for the rest of the turn. While that unit is wholly within friendly territory, it has strike last. So again, get off my lawn. Basically, you can give someone last or first.
Yeah.
Gives you the advantage. I don't like that one just has a roll-off if there's no underdog.
Yeah, I was about to say that one as well. That one's just kind of straightforward, being like, roll off to see who gets the buff if nobody's
right. I don't like
behind.
that because that's where you get into just rando war cry.
Right.
Will of the Necropolis. The underdog can pick 1 of the effects below. If no underdog, roll off. Again, not a lot fan of that, but adaptable defense, pick a friendly unit on the battlefield. No one off the battlefield. Ignore all modifiers to save rolls for the target, positive and negative for the rest of the battle round. So become Night Haunt for a second. Become Ethereal. Or Broken Will, pick an enemy unit on the battlefield. Target has a maximum control score of 1. Not a bad thing. Doesn't really help. I guess that hurts like enemy heroes and stuff like that who have like control scores of like 3 or 5 or whatever.
Yeah, if there's 2 heroes contesting the same objective and you throw that on the enemy one, like now the objective's yours.
Again, I do not like that. Basically, if there is no underdog, it's random roll to make someone ethereal for the round.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of the random roll for ethereality.
But that's the thing. After the first turn or 2, there's always going to be an underdog.
That's just true. So yeah, you could have one of these in the first round, in which case it's just. But then again, first round, someone being ethereal isn't that big of a deal because sometimes combat doesn't even happen first round.
Right. If you win that roll, you get a pretty good alpha strike. If that.
Yes.
Just don't set it up in the way you'd get alpha strike, and you won't have that problem.
Yeah, I will say that Spearhead in general is and this is great as a teaching tool. You learn very quickly not to over deploy against certain armies.
Yeah.
Because you will get mulched. Hello, Morbeg Knights.
Yeah.
And then last but not least, coordinated bombardment. I like that it literally says it's just a bombardment of skulls.
Yeah.
It's like skulls from the sky. The underdog can pick an objective. If not, no underdog, players roll off. Subtract 1 from hit rolls from enemy units while they are contesting that objective for the rest of the round. I don't mind the roll-off on that one because first round objective contesting isn't usually as much of a thing.
Right.
But if you're underdog later, that can really help you win an objective.
Mm-hmm. But then we have our Delorum twist, which is basically you flip to the other side of the board. It has basically the same objectives. They're just kind of placed differently. And then, but most importantly, it has different twists. And the Delorum twist. First, we have the Haunted Locust. The underdog reveals the icon of New Lamia, if I'm saying that correctly.
Yes.
The icon of New Lamia. If there's no underdog, both players roll off, and the winner reveals the icon of New Lamia. That's the statue here. The player that reveals the icon places the icon on the terrain feature anywhere on the battlefield more than 3 inches from each other terrain feature, more than 3 inches from all units, friendly and enemy, and not touching an objective. So it can be close to an objective, but it can't touch it.
Yeah. I really like, because Lamia was a city in the old world where the first vampires came about.
Okay.
And then Neferata, who was one of the first vampires, I think the first one, she makes Lamia again, and she just calls it New Lamia.
But instead of being N-E-W,
it's in
Lamia.
Yeah, like just call it New Lamia.
Yeah.
If you're going to do that.
Right.
Anyway, sorry.
I don't know Age of Sigmar lore very well.
Well, I mean, stuff like that doesn't make you want to.
Yeah. And then we have Overpowering Grief. The underdog picks an objective. If there's no underdog, the player roll off, and the winner picks an objective. That objective is no longer controlled by either player and cannot be controlled this battle round. That one's a big old middle finger.
Yeah, that one's that objective you have doesn't count.
Yeah. So, you took that objective from me? Well, no, you didn't, actually.
Or if you just pick one of your opponent's backline.
Well, yeah, and that's really important because I don't know if this would get rid of that because Spearhead sticky objectives are always active.
Yes.
So, like, if they have their back objective and they walk off of it, to go control your objectives.
Rules as written,
and then
they would not control it anymore.
Yeah, so you'd
because it says no one controls it and cannot be controlled. Sticky objectives is once you control it, you continue to control it.
Yeah.
Ergo, you can really mess up your opponent's movement with that one. That one's yucky.
Because they either have to turn around or keep moving forward, and then maybe you can reinforce.
That might be one of the more powerful.
Yeah, that one is a pretty good one. Pretty big middle finger. There was something similar in the other one, but it would just destroy the objective completely.
Yeah, you could raise the objective.
Yeah, this one actually. You can still take it the next turn, but it is a good old middle finger to your opponent. And then the next one is Savage Morning.
The psychic damage.
Each player scores 1 victory point at the end of their turn for each friendly unit that is in combat with enemy units. If there is an underdog, at the end of their turn, if there is more destroyed friendly units than destroyed enemy units, they score 1 additional victory point.
So this is one that the new Free Guild Spearhead just doesn't win.
Oh yeah, because
it's
mostly
all guns.
range.
Yeah,
they don't want to be in combat.
This one's a little weird because you have to survive combat and stay in combat, which is not something in Age of Sigmar. You're really encouraged not to do that, but it's more of a thing in Spearhead.
Yeah,
because stuff again isn't quite as hammery.
Yeah, kind of free points dishing out, and then if you're the underdog, you get an extra one just to kind of bring it back a little bit. Next one is Survivor's Grief, which is Josh after I made that terrible joke from the last one. Each player scores 1 victory point at the end of their turn for each friendly unit that is destroyed or that is a replacement unit. If there is an underdog, they can pick 1 friendly unit. If there is no underdog, then the players roll off and the winner can pick a friendly unit. That unit can use the charge abilities even if they used a retreat or run ability the same turn. So basically just a fall back and charge or advance and charge kind of thing.
Yeah, which is very powerful. And then each player scores 1 victory point at the end of the turn for each friendly unit that is destroyed or that is a replacement unit. That's just a consolation prize.
Yeah.
You wiped half my army, so I get 3 points.
I am bleeding, therefore I am the victor.
Yeah.
Next one is Banish Your Fears. Each player scores 1 extra victory point at the end of their turn for each objective they control that was controlled by their opponent at the start of their turn. In addition, if there is an underdog, they can pick 1 friendly unit. That unit's melee weapons have anti-charge +1 rend for the rest of the battle round.
So 1 unit becomes a porcupine.
Mm-hmm.
And then everyone gets a point for taking objectives.
Yep.
So that's an interesting twist because the main part is for being aggressive, and the second part awards defensive play.
Yeah, and then the last one is Darkened Skies. The underdog picks one objective. If there is no underdog, the players will roll off and the winner picks an objective. For the rest of the battle round, that objective is treated as being contested by a friendly unit of the player that picked it. That unit has a control score of 1 that cannot be modified.
So basically, you can contest an objective without being there?
Yeah.
Okay.
That one is a little weird, huh?
Yeah, that unit has a control score of 1. So basically, and it says this in the designer's note, this is a punish your opponent for leaving an objective completely uncontested in their backline.
Okay, so
and you can yoink it because you have a control score of 1. All they have to do is get 2 models on there and they take it back. So
sure.
this isn't going to let you contest anything that doesn't that has enemy models on it. But if your opponent either left one unsecured with their sticky objectives, or if there's something on the side of the map that you need to get to, this could be very powerful for last game shenanigans. Or just, again, forcing them to turn around and go get their objective back.
Right.
Yeah, that one's interesting.
Yeah, it's like the other one, but there's a twist to it.
Yeah, just
a twister
boop.
On the twist. But yeah, that's it for the Delorum twists.
So overall, not too different from the last Spearhead.
Very, very similar. Definitely a couple different ones in there, but yeah. Again, but that, and at least in my opinion, is a good thing.
Yes, in this case, this is a case of don't fix what isn't broken.
Mm-hmm.
And GW didn't feel the need to fix what isn't broken.
Right.
Now, I guess you could say the downside is that then why do I buy this season? And, I mean, as a consumer, I think it's great that you don't have to.
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
Why do you buy this? Because you want the new, you want some more variety in boards.
Yeah.
And I think you could keep playing Fire and Jade.
Mm-hmm.
I think you could pretty easily mix this deck. I mean, obviously, it's got different logo on the back, so you can't quite mix it.
Yeah, well, and then some of the objectives pertain to specific objectives on the battlefield too. So
sorry, I should say that I think you could very easily hold like an event or something like that where you flop between Fire and Jade and this.
Yeah.
I don't.
Oh yeah.
I don't think, unlike the Age of Sigmar GHB, where it's kind of implied that you just move on to the new one, or the same thing with 40k Chapter Proof. You just move on to the new one. You don't. The old one's now dead.
Right.
I don't think that needs to be the case here, and I really like that because I think this is an addition to Spearhead, not a new replacement of Spearhead.
Yeah, I agree. And then just having the 2 new little terrain features that they actually do something, but again, it's not something that completely turns the tide of battle. It has potentially negative side effects, like, you know, if you were to drop this in your deployment zone, being like, ha ha ha, I'm going to get that advantage, and then your enemy comes in, charges, and then takes it from you and then gets to use it against you, they still have a chance to get mortal wounds on them, but you also still have a chance to get mortal wounds on yourself. So it changes it up enough, gives it a little bit extra flavor. I definitely think you should pick it up if Spearhead's one of your main games like it is mine. But again, it's just a little refresher.
Yeah, I like that. So
yeah,
thumbs up from us.
Same.
Expect to see more Spearhead stuff from us coming soon as we dive into this event and maybe do some of our first battle reports.
Yeah.
So that's it from us this week. We will see you sometime soon, I hope, for whatever is coming next for Age of Sigmar. And until that time, bye-bye.